Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway. What was going on? Well, I applaud you. How you could be in the room with Mook and Palmieri, and who else was there?
Joel Benenson, the chief strategist and pollster, who probably made 50 times more than I did on that losing campaign.
Yeah.
Teddy Goff, Karen Finney.
Ooh, all the Clinton biggies. All right, I say this with all due. You schooled them. It was the single greatest Harvard debate beatdown in history. I mean, they still seem to not believe what happened.
Probably the only way I can get into Harvard. So
yeah, probably. You and me both.
Anyway, Sean, look, we were talking about the messaging, the mechanics, our digital operation, the way that someone like Dave Bossie and I had looked at the schedule to try to deploy our two greatest assets, Mike Pence and Donald Trump, to different states that were part of her so-called blue wall to try to dip into her 244 electoral vote advantage that she started with. And so it was a perfectly fine conversation. And then they just unloaded. And it just struck me as a complete lack of self-awareness of what just happened 3 weeks ago. And we saw that on display this week with the Democrats. They had a chance to learn from their own election and refused to. They put Nancy Pelosi in there as their leader for another term, a San Francisco wealthy liberal who has lost 60 congressional seats on her watch, who was the Speaker of the House for 4 years and then lost that perch because they just took the country in a very liberal, pro-government direction. They have lost 1,000 state legislative seats on President Obama's watch, the 6 House seats, over a dozen governors, over a dozen Senate seats, more than that. And so they're not learning these lessons, and you saw that on display last night. Look, if you're the Clinton team and you had no muscle in your head that would actually take you to a place where Donald Trump can actually
It's called a brain, yeah.
No.
The brain is a muscle.
These are very smart people. These are very smart people. But there was nothing in there that would actually let them even embrace the idea that maybe they would lose and Donald Trump would win. So they just simply weren't prepared for this. And so to think that they had totally missed America, that they don't understand America's concerns, that Americans truly did not like her and did not trust her and did not want her to be commander-in-chief and president of the United States, it's easier to scapegoat Steve Bannon and Jim Comey and Russian intelligence. How about just once in a while saying, we had a lousy candidate who never connected with people, gave absolutely no economic message in places like Western Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in Iowa, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Florida, in these places where Donald Trump said peace, prosperity, make America great again, patriotism, renegotiate bad trade deals, kill radical Islamic terrorism forevermore. She talked about them as our determined enemies. The president says they're the JV team, they've been contained. Americans don't believe that. They went for the strength. That was even somebody earlier in the day admitted that the one part of the undecided, the one time that the undecided voters really started going away from Hillary Clinton was on September 9th when she made that deplorables and irredeemable comment, because then you found out what she really thinks about you, and they said she apologized for that. No, she apologized for getting caught. She did not apologize for the content of the comment.
What do you make of CNN? I understand Jeff Zucker was at this event, and apparently people shouted at him a little bit. But I guess the more important question is, if you collude with the Clinton campaign and you feed her questions before a town hall, you ask the DNC for questions against your candidate, Donald Trump, that seems to me that of like a fake news organization. You know, do they deserve a seat in the White House press room? Well,
as I said last night in a forum, the biggest piece of fake news in this entire election cycle was that Donald Trump couldn't win. So
yeah, that's fake news.
That was peddled quite a bit, pretty much on every network and most cable stations. But Jeff Zucker from CNN took the most fire from the Republican presidential campaign managers who did not win. They felt that giving that coverage, basically stem to stern coverage of all of Donald Trump's rallies throughout the primary, had cost their candidates precious airtime. And that was really how they came after him. Others were attacking Jeff Zucker for having some of our spokespeople on there, saying they should not have been allowed on because they weren't telling the truth. When, wow, if you see what some of their paid analysts say day in and day out, I would just remind all your viewers, no one on TV is ever under oath. But look, all this goes to in the same direction, Sean. It's very simple. There are people who are part of the permanent campaign. They just can't get over the fact that Donald Trump won. And by the way, it wasn't a squeaker. You know what started this argument yesterday? The Team Clinton going back to the popular vote, And I said, hey, all your graphics and all your fancy packages said road to 270, not road to the popular vote. You ran the same way we ran, and we got 306 of them. Yeah. Donald Trump won 30 of 50 states, 2,600 counties. He flipped over 200 counties that Barack Obama carried in 2012. Donald Trump took in 2016. I mean, this wasn't a squeaker. weaker folks.
He wanted to push up the popular vote. He would have been in California,
New York,
Jersey,
Illinois,
yeah,
and we would have won anyway.
All right, so I guess the most important thing, the only negative thing I hear up to now, but number one, people love you when I'm out and about. They really do. And I think you had a very big calming impact on Mr. Trump. From what I saw.
He's just the best. He's brilliant. He's a master negotiator, a great communicator, natural connector.
They tried to portray that there was some kind of divide between you and the president-elect over the issue of Mitt Romney. I've heard the same thing. A lot of his biggest supporters don't want him for Secretary of State because of the things he said. They're very defensive of the president-elect. And the other thing is, you heard it last night, lock her up. That hasn't been determined by anybody. Isn't that going to be determined by the Justice Department and the new Attorney General?
Sure. Donald Trump believes in federalism. He believes in separation of powers. All he was saying last week was he's not focused on that. He's focused on health care and immigration in the case of helping Carrier keep 1,100 jobs here in Indiana and not over there in Mexico. Here they'll be making $23 an hour. There they would be making $3 an hour. So you see it's a better deal for the American worker, notwithstanding what other people on networks are saying. But look, on this thing about Donald Trump and you read the New York Times article.
I saw the tweet. So I saw you right behind him, behind his desk. You wouldn't be there if he was mad at you.
I wouldn't be there. And if you were mad at me, I wouldn't be here. I would resign because I very much believe in him, and I know he's going to be a great president.
What will your role be?
Him.
Everyone's wondering.
It's called the Kellyanne role, apparently, and it's whatever he wants it to be. I think it'll be a combination of a number of things. I can either go inside and be in the West Wing with him if he wants. He said he wants me there, or be outside and build the whole political operation. Basically, have that superstructure, Sean, that we tap into to help push forward President Trump's Supreme Court nominees and the other federal.
There's going to be a lot of fights ahead.
Look, there are a lot of fights.
There's going to be a lot of fights.
He is a guy who's going to get a lot of great things done very quickly.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that he has the surround sound superstructure to support those initiatives on the outside.
The left that we see.
The left's going to lie. The left's going to besmirch. They're going to go crazy. They can't accept the election results, let alone the fact that he's actually going to solve problems. And it took him, he's not even inaugurated yet, and he helped Carrier keep the jobs here. Imagine what he'll do as president.
And the left's mad. By the way, you are the first woman, and we don't believe in identity politics, neither one of us. I've known you for over 20 years. The first woman to win a presidential campaign. And I thought yesterday was probably one of the more entertaining moments I've seen in the entire campaign. And I congratulate you on both those things.
Thank you. We had a great team, and we had a brilliant candidate and vice presidential candidate.
That helps a lot. If you have a good candidate, it helps.
One of the messages of this campaign is there truly is no substitute for a quality candidate. It doesn't matter how many focus groups, personnel, money you have, celebrities on the stage with you, presidents, former presidents who also have
Beyonce didn't do it.
You know, if anything, surrounding herself with people who were larger than her in terms of personality and popularity made her seem small. But you need a good message and a great messenger.
All right, Kellyanne, congratulations. Look forward to hearing about your new role. Thank you.